Kevin O'Leary says he's nearing deal to buy TikTok as ban looms. Here's what we know, okay? Here's what we know. So April 20th, 2024, House passed legislation against, by the way, is this the one with Kevin O'Leary's breaking this down?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you play this clip first, and then I'm going to go to Tom, and we'll get some commentary. Go for it.
That was one topic, but I had another agenda item that was very important to me, and we announced that this morning. I have joined with Frank McCourt to buy TikTok, and this is a very complicated deal. It's a multi-billion-dollar deal. We're going to have to work with President Trump. This is a bipartisan situation. We have to work initially with Biden, and we want to. And then on midday, 12:05, Trump will be who we have to work with to close the deal in the months ahead. So I wanted to let him know, as well as others in his cabinet, that we're doing this, and we're going to need their help.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting story.
I have a timeline here. Let me read the timeline, then Tom, I'll come to you. April 20th, 2024, House passed legislation against TikTok. In a decisive 360 to 58 vote, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries stated the bill was designed to address legitimate national security and privacy concerns. 3 days later, Senate voted 80 to 19, approved the bill. Senator Maria Cantwell, the legislation aimed to prevent foreign adversaries from conducting espionage, surveillance, maligned operations, harming vulnerable Americans, our servicemen and women, and our U.S. government personnel. Day later, President Joe Biden signed the bill into law, requiring TikTok to be sold or banned. TikTok responded, stating it had invested billions of dollars to keep U.S. data safe, and our platform free from outside influence and manipulation. Month later, May 7th, TikTok filed a lawsuit against the federal government, arguing the ban violated the First Amendment rights of the app and its American users. A week later, May 14th, 8 TikTok users sued the federal government, claiming the ban was unconstitutionally overbroad and infringe on their First Amendment rights. December 6, 2024, a month ago, the U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. District denied TikTok's petition to review the law, ruling the national security concerns outweigh TikTok's First Amendment claims. The court also declined TikTok's request to halt the ruling. 10 days later, December 16, TikTok filed an emergency injunction request with the Supreme Court, arguing the pause was necessary to create breathing room for this court to conduct an orderly review. The CEO of TikTok, Xiao Chu, met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago requesting support for an injunction that was ultimately not granted. 2 days later, December 18th, Supreme Court agreed to review TikTok's challenge, schedule an oral arguments for January 10th, which is tomorrow, just days before law's effective date. December 27th, Donald Trump opposed TikTok ban in a court filing, stating he could secure a political resolution to keep TikTok in the U.S. after his January 20th inauguration if Supreme Court intervenes. January 3rd, the Justice Department asked Supreme Court to uphold the law mandating TikTok's ban or sale, arguing the app hadn't presented sufficient justification for a pause and that Trump's argument lacked visibility. January 6th, Kevin O'Leary told Fox they're planning on buying it. Tom, your thoughts with things going on right now with TikTok?
Yeah, so this all starts, and people saw headlines. This is the behind the scenes. This is the deep dive, and that's really helpful. So it all started with TikTok is allowing China to get the data, and they are sharing the data on U.S. consumers with people that we don't want it shared with, and are violating U.S. privacy laws. That's it. So the government working together from April 20th to 24th, I don't think there was a single bill during the Biden administration that went that quick, that in 4 days it went from vote to desk. Not something that was this divisive. I'm not talking about a negotiated resolution that's been going on for 6 months. I'm saying from incidents, boom, 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 that quick. So now Trump is asking the Supreme Court, hang on a minute, but the Department of Justice is telling the Supreme Court, no, hang on a minute. This appeal was brought forth by ByteDance. So you go tell those guys the law is the law and you need to sell it. So what's happening is Kevin O'Leary is saying, hey, right now the law is on the books. They say it's going to be that they have to divest and they've got timelines to do it. So I've got another wealthy buyer, Frank McCourt, who once owned the Dodgers until MLB told him he couldn't own them anymore, and they conducted an auction. So what is going on? TikTok is in play because someone's going to get to buy it in the U.S. to be in compliant with the law, and ByteDance is going to have to let go of it. And then in the US, they're going to have to figure about data and everything else, and then find out, okay, now that you own it, can you confirm there's no data leaking out the back from all of our users? That's going to be a lot of rebuild and a lot of things. I happen to think that Kevin O'Leary is not the last name you're going to hear here. I believe my gut, and there's been no announcement, but this is how I read the tea leaves. I think Trump is saying, I want to figure something out. Who right next to Trump is a very large owner of social media? Elon Musk.
Big time.
If Elon Musk then made the move and said, well, maybe I'll buy this and then I'll own both, then I'll control, then the ad cost will go up and they'll probably both be profitable. But now you got one guy owning both. And that kind of makes me kind of nervous. I like the idea that Kevin O'Leary and a neutral U.S. partner fulfill the law, but Kevin O'Leary and Frank McCourt do not have experience with social media. And the real issue with this is all the tentacles and all the leaking of U.S. user data out the back. They would have to shut all that down because that was the point of the law. The servers are in China. The data is going to China. There's surveillance of U.S. citizens in China now. That's why in 4 days in April, people went so quick. But I think there could be another name, and that's Elon Musk. And I don't know what kind of experience Kevin O'Leary and
Would
Frank
you like
McCourt.
to see Elon Musk, who owns X, also own TikTok? Do you think that is good for him to own both?
I'm going to think in terms of Federal Trade Commission. I'm going to say no, because you have too much power in one space, and the ad cost. I am a capitalist, but I'm against monopolies that then corner, just like I'm against China cornering the world market on minerals and using that leverage. I also am against monopolies cornering the market and extending leverage.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see Elon Musk buy TikTok, although it is definitely possible. For me, it comes down to one thing. How much do you trust China and the CCP? For me, it's very close to this number I'm holding up right here, 0. So, in China, they have something called a Great Firewall, right? It restricts the internet, it restricts social media. Their citizens can't go on. So, you can probably try to get through with a VPN, but it's very restrictive. Do you know what American apps, social media apps are allowed in China? YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, even one of the greatest apps ever created called Minect. Do you know how many that are allowed in China? 0. So we're going to let this super algorithm, super app owned by ByteDance, definitely by the CCP, infiltrate our youth and just basically indoctrinate them to whatever they want China for our kids to be educated on? I don't think so. I'm very uncomfortable with this. Even Charlie Kirk said, maybe I'm actually considering understanding why we should keep TikTok here. Trump is even sort of warming up to the idea. I don't know. This is a national security problem that I hope gets rectified.
Vinny, your thoughts? Musk owning both. That's the main question. X and TikTok.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of monopolies when it comes to that. My one thing is anything that China doesn't have any involvement with it, like you were talking about brainwashing our youth and doing all the crazy stuff that they're doing, I'm all for it. But, capitalism and business is business. It is what it is.
PBD, what are the pros and cons of Elon hypothetically acquiring TikTok?
Or hypothetically.
Yeah.
That's Tom. That's one of Tom's top 10 predictions. I was watching his video yesterday, which I actually thought was very good. But to me, I would say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that he will do or not. I think if there's any guy that can handle multiple companies that he's running at the same time. By the way, the other day I made a claim about Musk, about me as a founder working 80 hours a week for God knows how many years. Nobody works 80 hours a week and all this stuff that came out. Do you know there's a video of Musk? They ask him, how many hours a week you're working? Do you know what his answer was?
What did he say?
Have you guys seen this or no? So Tom,
have you seen? Sleep.
I've seen it, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
Okay, so if you've seen it, let me show this clip to you, Rob. He's being interviewed, and they're asking him about what does your schedule look like right now. I found it. Oh, is this it, Rob? This is it. What's your schedule look like right now with all the businesses you're running? Look what he says. Go ahead.
Yeah, my workload went up from about 70 to 80 hours a week to probably 120. So.
By the way, pause it.
Yeah.
Notice, pause it. Audience was laughing. He's not laughing. Just to tell you what 120 is, I've worked 100 hours in a week. Tom, I think we've even worked 110 hours in a week. On some of the weeks, you and I know what weeks these were.
Yep.
120 in a week. You have 168 total hours in a week. Yep. 120 means 48 is left for everything else. 48 divided by 7 is 7 hours. You're working every day to run all your businesses. This is while he has 10, 11 kids. Go ahead and play the clip, Rob.
Yeah, I go to sleep, I wake up, I work, go to sleep, wake up, work, do that 7 days a week. I'll have to do that for a while.
Now watch what he says.
Choice.
Watch what he says here.
But I think
eventually, once Twitter
is set on the right path,
yep.
I think it is a much easier thing to manage than SpaceX or Tesla. So, yeah.
Keyword is what? Once it is established and systems are in place, it'll be easier to manage than Tesla and SpaceX, right? So let me finish my thoughts. So to me, it's if there's a guy that could pull it off, it's him, although he is stretching himself thin. I think there's two things: being able to operate, and then the other side is he may be sitting there and saying, why do I even need TikTok? I'm building a app for everything. Why do I even need a TikTok? I don't know if I need a TikTok. But then there's the FTC part, which I don't care whoever it is. I don't care who it is. You don't want, I remember one of my guys in the insurance company, at the beginning stages when I started the company, he was the biggest asshole to me. Biggest. Because the biggest portion of revenue in the business was coming from him. Indirectly, whether you're the most humble person in the world or not, he became so arrogant, so entitled, so much of an asshole that he was unbearable to work with, and he was indirectly being a bully. Because he could. It's like, well, what about this, and what about that, and what about this? And there's a statement that says, if you want to test someone's character, give them what?
Money.
Give them power. No, power, not money. Lincoln said this. If you want to test someone's character, give them power, okay? Rob, if you can validate this quote, I think Lincoln said it. Watch it be somebody else. But I think it is Lincoln that said, if you want to test someone's character, give them power. So what ended up happening is, when I saw that, I did whatever I could. If you want to test a man's character, give him power. Yeah, Lincoln said this. So I realized that's not good. Because if anybody had too much, and then there was other people that happened to as well, a lot of them flirted with that power. Okay, you will flirt if you have that much power. And you half the time you're not even aware of it, okay, when you're going through this. And it's an element of arrogance, power, and moments that you know you can bully to destroy someone's life. And I just don't know if that's a good idea to have one person have that much power with any kind of a business. I do think the monopoly law is a good law to have, no matter what business it is. So that is one thing that is up for discussion. With this taking place, do I think it can happen? I think it can. I think if Musk, his relationship being close to Trump, impacts it to be able to purchase TikTok, it is a great move. But this is the part, Tom. Do you think Trump himself would support Musk owning TikTok?
At the moment, I think he might. I think longer term, I'm not sure if he would, because I think the longer term, you gotta see where this is all going to go. Right now, there's a lot of people that found ways to use TikTok and to make it work for them, to make it work in terms of getting out your message, grassroots campaigning in the election, also commerce. A lot of people have made TikTok work for them. And guess what? The Trump campaign was one of them. They very strategically and very smartly made TikTok work for them during the election as a campaign tool. And they used it straight up. And by the way, Trump's campaign had to do all this with people hiding in the background trying to push levers the other way against him.
Well, one of the biggest investors in TikTok is an ally of Trump, Tom. One of the biggest investors of TikTok is an ally of Trump. Rob, if you want to pull this up, $2 billion of ownership in TikTok, Trump supporters, something like that if you want to put it in there. So there is a person like that already in there. And as Trump can go $2 billion social, if you type in news, just go to news. No, on the bottom, just go under news. Yeah, let's see if it comes up. Tech moguls, Trump can tap into $2 billion. No, there's a guy who owns $2 billion. He invested, I believe, $2 billion in TikTok. Major, I'm looking.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this like a month ago.
He's in there, and he's a player.
Rob.
Yes, I think his name. Yes, no, there's another name. Anyways, there is somebody in there that's
Rob,
a part of that.
Pull that up. I just want to revisit one thing with you, PPD, because maybe I want to understand this. And I think a lot of the entrepreneurs out there might be able to learn something here. Everything you just said about power, if you want to test a man's character, you give them power.
Yes.
Right? Lincoln, there's also another quote, power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? So you did the video about working 80-hour weeks.
Yeah.
100-hour weeks, you said you worked one time.
Yep.
Elon said he worked 120-hour weeks. There's how many hours in a week? 168 hours?
Yeah.
What I want to understand is this. When you were working those 100-hour weeks, you're on the come up, right?
Yep.
I mean, even now, you're probably working 70,
Jennifer
80
said
hours.
I'm working back to working like PHP because now I'm running 8 companies and PHP, yeah.
So what I want to understand, Elon, richest man in the world, he could literally never work a day in his life, but it's obviously he's not built that way. What I want to understand is the following. What motivates somebody when they've already reached the pinnacle of the pinnacle of the pinnacle? You're saying there's always levels to things.
Yeah.
He's reached the richest man in the world. What else is there to reach? What motivates someone like him or even someone like you to say, nope, 120-hour weeks, let's go? What is that?
It's got to be a real vision. It's not money. That's what we were talking about 3 weeks ago. It's got to be real vision, not money. And for me, I'm with that. All I'm saying is, if I'm the president of the United States, okay, which I'm not. I'm a guy that's a operator, business owner, entrepreneur. But if I was, even if it's a guy on your own side, it's not good for business and the economy if one person has way too much control. That's not good for anybody. It's not. It's not good on the left. It's not good on the right. I wouldn't mind having 9 people having control of these companies that are separately or competing against each other, yes. But one, that's never good. Never. It's never good. When we sold our business and the company said, what are you going to do? What if we buy the business and one of your big players quits? I said, that's a great question you asked. The biggest organization, our company, is only 23% of revenue. The other company that they bought, Tom, the other company that they bought, nearly 90% of the revenue of that company was coming from one agency.
Ooh.
You understand what the risk there is.
Diversification.
You don't want that. You don't. And we thought about this for a long time after we got to this point. This morning, we're announcing limited edition hats because inauguration is on the 20th. Not this Monday, but it's the following Monday. These hats are hats that we've been working on having for a while. It's the 45-47 Future Looks Bright hat with the American flag on the side and the VT logo on the side, and it's numbered. And if you look at the inside, it's the limited edition ones are the only ones where you see Future Looks Bright everywhere on the inside, and they're numbered 1 out of 50. These are going to go for $99. These will go in no time, and they'll sell on eBay. We see them all the time for $500,000, $2,000. Some of them sell for $3,000. This will go for in no time. The $250 numbered in no time. Okay. Now there's matching shirts that comes with this. Okay, with 45-47 Future Looks Bright with the American flag on the back with Valuetainment. Rob has the one with white 45-47 on it. If the camera can zoom in on Rob. Okay, Vinny's got the one with the gray. If you can put this over there, Vinny, with you. And he's got the sweater. So we have the shirt, the sweater, and then there's addition. These are the numbered ones. Then we have these additional ones. That's 45-47, red, white, and blue. This is not a lot of supply. But here's what we're doing. The shirts are also here with it. For those of you that are proud that this victory took place and you supported him and you believe the future looks bright and you like all these challenges he's putting out there with folks reacting saying, wait a minute, we should call Gulf of Mexico Gulf America. Yes. What's going on with Greenland? All these policies coming up with, if you support him and you support Valuetainment, you might want to go get the skier. And anything you purchase today, we just made this announcement 30 minutes ago. I had a call with our VP of Finance, Tom and Chris from Merch. 100% of all purchase. Guys, we're going to have probably one of the biggest, that's going to be the biggest day of 2025 in purchases today because we've been working to launch these hats in a long time, the 45-47. 100% of purchases made all day today, 24 hours, will go to families that are being affected by the fires in California. By the way, we're not giving the money to a charity and then, hey, here, do whatever you want to do with it. We want families that are being affected. You're saying somebody, your mother lost that. I'm getting stories that are coming in right now with, it just doesn't make sense what's going on there. The worst fire they've had ever in Southern California. People are being decimated, devastated. Stories, people that build houses that have been living there for 20, 30, 40 years, generationally living in Palisades are being affected by it. But I'm talking average day-to-day families, folks that are affected. Send us a story, Connect, whatever other way you want to get a hold of us. If there's stories that we want directly, hearing those testimonies, whatever we sell today, 100% is going to families affected by the fire in California. So if you watch Valuetainment, you watch PBD Podcast, you're a fan of this, whatever you purchase, you're not just purchasing that. And I'm not saying profits, 100% of revenue today from merch, not just profit. That could be a very big number. 100% of revenue is going to go to families in California.
Amen.
Support the cause. I lived there for 24 years of my life. Everywhere I've lived, I've never lived in a place more than California. It's a very special place for me. I have some of my favorite people in the world that live over there, some of my favorite memories over there. I got married in California, too. My boys were born in California. Tom and I met in California. My wife and I met in California. Relationships, all of those memories, I want to make sure we do our part to support those in California. Thank you for your support. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.